So this is Hieronymus Bosch. He was one of the most prolific painters in the Netherlands in the late 1500s. His work was controversial, and the work that I would say was the most famous that he did is called The Garden of Earthly Delights. Your book points out, and I have read many interpretations of what the painting The Garden of Earthly Delights means. No one really can agree. Many scholars have many theories. However, we do know that his paintings influenced surrealism and that one of his patrons was Henry III of Nassau, who was the regent to the Netherlands. So one of the most interesting painters that we study from Northern Europe is Hieronymus Bosch. Bosch was a really interesting painter. He collected material or source references from a book called The Bestiaries. We know that he was a chemist and had some other really unusual things that influenced his art. In the closed version of the triptych, we see a view of the Earth, and we see that he thinks that the Earth is flat, even though at this time Columbus has sailed already, in that we know that the Earth is round. He still seems to think it is flat. At any rate, the closed version of the triptych is done in Grisaille. If you don't know what Grisaille is, it's typed out for you in the upper left-hand corner. You need to look that up. It is an important term. So I kind of walked you through an explanation of every single thing that you could see in the painting. Here, I've just kind of pulled out some of the scenes so that you could see a close-up of the scenes. So the top here, this is from the central panel where the earthly delights are explored. And I happened to mention that one of the panels had an African woman who was teaching young women about other things. That panel is pictured here below. Now, how do I know she's African? It's an accepted dogma about this particular work of art, but I will tell you this is one of the most controversial works of art in the history of Western art. And because of that, I would tell you that you can find many interpretations that say this woman is not African. She's from someplace else. So I just wanted to put that out there that, yeah, I realize there's some bias being underlined in that interpretation. Up above the couple that are in the middle of the birds. If you remember right, I told you that the birds become synonymous for seeking out sex, and the couple is sitting in the middle of the seeking out sex. As you look at the top, you see a couple riding in this bubble on top of a piece of fruit. Remember, fruit is also synonymous for sexual pleasure. And you can see that they're floating in a lake. There's a rat that's crawling into a tube, and there's a person in the tube watching out from below. This is a detail from the scene of hell. You can see the Eggman that I mentioned here. He's well, I'm sorry, not the Eggman. It's a half a torso that's been hollowed out. People are living inside the torso. The face is watching as people live inside his body. You can see the ears that I mentioned with the knife coming through them. And then in the lower right-hand corner, you can see this man that's sort of the ringleader of hell. Here's a close-up of the man who is the ringleader. He's eating people And then you can see this egg in which somebody's suspended or trapped. The message of this painting was that the pleasures of the flesh bring about consequences in hell. Hieronymus Bosch even explores the idea of sex all the way back to original sin, which is here in the representation of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. One of the things I wanted to mention is that we think this might have been a wedding gift, because weddings were often commemorated with paintings that were given or tapestries. We think that it might have been a wedding gift to the groom, presenting the idea that these are the dangers of straying from fidelity in the marriage.